Coming up on 5 Minute News. Another candidate launches presidential bid, calls on Trump to drop out. US opening Vanuatu embassy to counter China in Pacific. And US leads the world in weather catastrophes. It's Monday, April 3. I'm Anthony Davis. Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson will seek the Republican presidential nomination, positioning himself as an alternative to Donald Trump, just days after the former president was indicted by a grand jury in New York. Hutchinson said Trump should drop out of the race, arguing the office is more important than any individual person. Hutchinson said he was running because I believe that I am the right time for America, the right candidate for our country and its future. He added, I'm convinced that people want leaders that appeal to the best of America and not simply appeal to our worst instincts. He is the first Republican to enter the race since Trump became the only former U.S. president to ever face criminal charges. Hutchinson's candidacy will test the GOP's appetite for those who speak out against Trump. Others who have criticized Trump, including former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, have opted against a campaign, sensing the difficulty of prevailing in a primary. In addition to Trump, Hutchinson joins a Republican field that also includes former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy. 72-year-old Hutchinson left office in January after 8 years as governor. He has ramped up his criticism of the former president in recent months, calling another Trump presidential nomination the worst scenario for Republicans, and saying it will likely benefit President Joe Biden's chances in 2024. Meanwhile, the former president has raised more than $5 million since news of his indictment broke late on Thursday, over $4 million in the first 24 hours, and over $1 million in the second 24 hours. Trump has told advisors and associates in recent days that he is prepared to escalate attacks against the Manhattan prosecutor who resurrected the criminal prosecution into his hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels in 2016, now that a grand jury has indicted him. The United States plans to open an embassy in the South Pacific island nation of Vanuatu, the State Department said on Friday, in Washington's latest move to boost its diplomatic presence in the Pacific to counter China's growing influence. Consistent with the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy, a permanent diplomatic presence in Vanuatu would facilitate areas of potential bilateral cooperation and development assistance, including efforts to tackle the climate crisis. The United States has diplomatic relations with Vanuatu, which has a population of 319,000 spread across 80 islands, but is currently represented by diplomats based in New Guinea. Meanwhile, the small Pacific island country of Vanuatu is poised to gain UN approval to seek an unprecedented legal opinion on what obligation countries have to combat climate change. Vanuatu's resolution would give the International Court of Justice in The Hague a chance to weigh in on potential consequences for nations that have caused much of global warming to date. The non-binary advisory opinion could be cited by U.S. courts and used in legal proceedings around the world. The request for an advisory ruling from the ICJ is expected to clarify the legal obligations of countries to address climate change and to create a path for them to be sued if they fail to do so. The US is getting hit by stronger, costlier, more varied and frequent extreme weather than anywhere else on the planet, several experts have said. Two oceans, the Gulf of Mexico, the Rocky Mountains, jutting peninsulas like Florida, clashing storm fronts and the jet stream combine to naturally brew the nastiest of weather. And that's only part of it. Nature dealt the United States a bad hand, but people have made it much worse by what, where, and how we build. Thanks to climate change, more extreme events are expected, said Rick Spinrad, head of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Tornadoes, hurricanes, flash floods, droughts, wildfires, blizzards, ice storms, lake effect snow, heat waves, severe thunderstorms, hail, lightning, atmospheric rivers, dust storms, monsoons, bomb cyclones, and the dreaded polar vortex. It starts with where we are on the globe, North Carolina state climatologist Kathy Dello said. It's truly a little bit unlucky. China may have more people and a large land area like the United States, but they don't have the same kind of clash of air masses as much as we do in the US, that's producing a lot of the severe weather. The US is by far the king of tornadoes and other severe storms. Killer tornadoes in December 2021 that struck Kentucky illustrated the uniqueness of the United States. They hit areas with large immigrant populations. People who fled Central and South America, Bosnia and Africa were all victims. A huge problem was that tornadoes really didn't happen in those people's former homes, so they don't know what to watch out for or what to do, or even know they had to be concerned about tornadoes, said Joseph Trujillo Falcon, an NOAA social scientist who investigated the aftermath. With colder air up in the Arctic and warmer air in the tropics, the area between them, the mid-latitudes where the United States is, gets the most interesting weather because of how the air acts in clashing temperatures and that the north-south temperature gradient drives the jet stream. Poverty makes it hard to prepare for and bounce back from disasters, especially in the south. You can subscribe to the 5-Minute News Patreon for bonus videos, commentary, and more. Go to patreon.com/5-Minute News.